Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Hey, welcome in. I don't think that's how he wanted it to go, but it's a live and learn process. Oh, yeah, there we go. Welcome in to Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Young and Mo Patton with us here on a
Monday 2.0.
It could be Monday 2.0. That sounds like a plan to me. And so we are excited to have you guys with us as we have. It's all good, Justin. I know you are actually on site at a shoot today, so there's a lot going on.
So Justin's multitasking.
He is multitasking,
Gotcha.
And that's okay. We forgive you. We forgive you. No, thanks to you guys for being here. We've got a lot to get to today. We've got a really cool show because, our motto here being from preps to pros is pretty accurate most of the time. Today, not so much, because we'll go from preteens to pros.
Yeah.
As we've got Nolensville Little League Baseball coach, the 12-year-old team that will be playing in the Little League Southeast Regional in Warner Robins, Georgia, Randy HUTH.
Is it HUTH?
I don't know.
I think it's HUTH like tooth, but I'm not entirely sure.
We'll ask.
Among other questions.
Plenty of questions to ask Randy. And
Randy H.
And we'll get to him here in just a few moments. We've also got, of course, Chip Walters. He's back with us, and we've got a lot to talk about. For it to be an off season, there's a lot going on in the world of, I guess.
And if you follow Chip on Facebook, he's a little disappointed today. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get him on as well. Good.
I always like to talk about disappointments on the air. So, well, we will get into all of that. But we've got a ton of stories. There is so much NFL news, with today being the first day back, or the first day for camps.
Is it the first day for camps everywhere, or is it just the first day for camps?
It is definitely the first day of camp here, but there are, Mo, I've got 4 NFL stories that we can touch on.
On July 25th.
On July 25th.
Yeah.
And not to mention the 2 other big stories that have come out in the last few hours in the world of sports. So plenty to get to. And, of course, we have Top 5 Tuesday, and today's Top 5 is best throwback uniforms. Of course, with the throwback uniforms being released this weekend for, I guess, all 4 teams now who will be using throwbacks have released those. We'll talk about those. We'll also draft our top 5. So, and it'll just be us today because Justin will not be on. But if you want to vote in the poll to see who gets to go first, you can do that at ms_sports today. We've got the poll up from last week. So go check out that as well. But again, plenty to get to, Mo. It's going to be an interesting day.
Aren't they all?
Let's get to it. And we'll give you yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
Here's the rundown.
Scores that we missed from over the weekend yesterday in the American Legion State Tournament up at Volunteer State. Columbia Post 19 won their best of three state tournament series against Gallatin Post 17. Won 8-3 on Friday night, lost 7-6 in game 2 on Saturday, but bounced back and won 10-4 in the rubber match. So Columbia Post 19 is your American Legion State champion, and they will be playing next week over in North Carolina. Now, yesterday's scores. In Major League Baseball, Milwaukee with a 3-2 win over the Reds. The Astros edged the Rangers 10-9. It was the Cardinals 10, the Diamondbacks 6, and the Pirates doubled up San Diego 8-4. In Women's World Cup soccer action, the Philippines with a 1-0 victory over host New Zealand.
Yes, technically, sure.
Okay. And Norway and Sweden played to a scoreless draw.
Major League Baseball tonight at 6:10 p.m., not a.m. The Braves will take on the Red Sox, and that's necessary because all of the soccer matches are in the a.m. So it's 6:10 p.m. tonight, Braves at Fenway. Last time they were in Fenway, things went well.
Things went really well.
Marcell Ozuna will be happy to be back, I think.
Well, we'll be without one of the troublemakers, unfortunately. If you remember, Vaughn Grissom hit his first Major League home run up there.
He did.
Yeah.
So, also, a little crosstown rivalry here. Windy City, Cubs at White Sox. That's 7:10 tonight. Reds are at the Brewers, also at 7:10, and the Rangers are at the Astros, same time. Cardinals at Arizona, that's an 8:40 first pitch, and the Pirates are at the Padres, also an 8:40 first pitch. In WNBA action tonight, it's the Phoenix Mercury at the Atlanta Dream. You can watch that on ESPN3 at 6 p.m. Also on ESPN3, it's the Storm at New York at 6 p.m.
It's also the Aces and the Sky at 6 p.m. on ESPN, on the big ESPN. 7 o'clock on ESPN3, it's the Indiana Fever is at the LA Sparks. And in soccer action overnight, Pac-12 after dark, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Japan and Costa Rica, first touch at 12 a.m., 12 midnight, however you care to refer to it. It's on FS1. That will be followed on FS1 at 2:30 by Spain and Zambia. And at 7 a.m. tomorrow, some of you will be awake, I won't, but it's Canada and Ireland. That's also on FS1. And seeing no others, that is your rundown.
All right, top story is brought to you by our friends at Piggly Wiggly at Neely's Mill in Columbia. Make sure to go see them for your deli lunch needs or your fresh hand-cut meats and, of course, fresh produce also. So plenty of great stuff to get you going at Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill Shopping Center in Columbia. Top story today, first, is the unfortunate news that come out earlier today in regards to Bronny James, the McDonald's All-American and USC freshman.
Mm-hmm.
He collapsed on the court Monday and had a cardiac arrest, taken to the hospital. He was in ICU, but is now in stable condition. I'm not sure if he's still in ICU or not. It doesn't appear he is. So this is becoming more and more frequent in college basketball. You know, the Florida kid, which I know that was COVID related, but these heart issues, I'm curious what's causing these things, and we know a guy. So
We do know a guy. We do know a guy.
Maybe we need to reach out and ask him some questions. But this is unfortunate. Do you have his statement or the statement?
I do not.
All right. Yesterday, while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff was able to treat Bronny and take him to a hospital. He is now in stable condition, is no longer in ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family, and we will update media when there is more information. LeBron and Savannah wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes.
You don't expect to hear this type of situation involving a college-age athlete, like you said. So obviously it opens up a lot of speculation. And it'll be interesting to see what more information we do ultimately get on this. I just hope he's okay.
Yeah, and this is not the first time this has happened to USC. Vincent Iwuchukwu was one of the top incoming freshmen in college basketball last season, suffered cardiac arrest on July 1st, 2022, and was hospitalized for a few days. He returned to play for USC in January, appearing in 14 games.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know that, it was something that he was able to come back from and play and contribute. So
yes,
it is.
But USC twice and nowhere else. Maybe there is somewhere else. We just haven't heard about it. This is LeBron James' son we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't seem. I don't. It's got to be coincidental. You can't imagine there's something that they're doing. I mean,
I wouldn't think. I don't. And if it is, I don't know what it would possibly be.
Right. But that is. It's kind of like that SpongeBob thing. If I had a nickel for every time this happened, I'd have 2 nickels, but it's weird it happened twice. And I don't know. I mean, you just don't expect this kind of stuff. And it's very frustrating when you don't know,
mm-hmm.
especially when
and it's very frustrating when you don't know, and people don't like to not know. And so as a result, again, there's going to be a lot of speculation as to
cause.
Mm-hmm, what this was caused by, what it's linked to, what it's related to.
There's apparently a known, not disease, but a some sort of underlying condition that is apparently being tested for at the professional level on a regular basis at this point. So it appears that is, at the very least, there are some things that are known to medical staff on these athletic teams to be paying attention to.
Yeah, and it's interesting if it's being tested for at the professional level that it's not being tested for at the collegiate level.
Right, and I don't know that it is or isn't.
Mm-hmm. But we just know it is at the professional
right,
level.
Yeah, and so I'm curious if this might make some changes to, the college process.
Mm-hmm. Because again, you mentioned the kid from Florida who wound up playing at Kansas State and was drafted in the draft last month, was he not?
Yes.
Cannot think of his name.
The kid from Florida. Yeah, I cannot call him the kid from Florida.
Right.
I mean, what is his name? Keontae Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now with the Thunder. He
So,
was the 50th pick overall in the draft.
Anyway, that's what we know.
Yeah, and again, best wishes to Bronny James and the family. We hate to hear about this and hope that he continues to improve and is, eventually able to resume
Normal activity, because he is a obviously a projected draft pick next season. So let's go into something a little lighter. Only because this story in general is hilarious. Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh is apparently in negotiations with the NCAA.
And that in and of itself is intriguing. Okay, we're going to punish me. How much do you want?
Well, and let's say this. It's not unprecedented for the NCAA to negotiate. Tennessee and the NCAA were negotiating for a long time. They just couldn't come to an agreement. And that's why there ended up being, they had to go in front of the IARP. Yeah.
Not to be confused with AARP.
That's why they had to go in front of the IARP, is because they couldn't come up with a suitable solution together. That being said, and maybe the punishment does fit the crime. I don't know. Jim Harbaugh facing a 4-game suspension against 4 teams that they could beat if me or you were coaching.
Hey. We're pretty good.
Yes. we certainly could be. But it's a little funny that we've talked about it on this show so many times. It's not the crime, it's the cover-up. Jim Harbaugh allegedly lied to the NCAA investigators who were asking him who paid for lunch for two guys who were already committed to Michigan, who unexpectedly showed up on campus. He takes them to lunch, and he paid. And he told investigators he didn't remember who paid.
Where's the lie there? I mean, how do you know if he remembered or not?
Well,
he didn't say he didn't pay. He said he didn't remember.
And see, so this is where we kind of, are getting into some things. But Bruce Pearl got a whole show cause.
What did Bruce Pearl say? He said that it didn't take place.
He didn't say straight up lied.
If he had said, I don't remember if we had a barbecue or not,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry. I don't remember if we had a cookout or not. There we go.
Yeah.
I think they used the term barbecue, but those are people that don't know.
Exactly. This is from Indianapolis.
Yeah, right.
Darn Yankees. But the inconsistency with the NCAA is almost as laughable as the inconsistency with NASCAR that we talk about on this show quite a bit with Heather Williams, and we'll talk about tomorrow. But the thing is the kids were already they were coming. They showed up unexpectedly, and dude was like, "Hey, let's go to lunch." Like, I know it's against the rules.
It is against the rules, but and I certainly don't want to come off as an NCAA apologist here, but why wouldn't you just say, I paid for lunch?
That's the thing. I mean, yeah, I paid for lunch.
I paid for lunch. I mean, it was $50 between them. I paid for lunch.
A couple hamburgers. It wasn't a big deal. I didn't want the kids to have to come out of pocket when they'd already come up here.
I paid for lunch.
Yeah, just tell them you paid for lunch. The whole thing is just dumb. That's why it's funny, because it's like, dude, you're not going to coach 4 games, all of which are at home, by the way.
By the way,
I know UNLV and Rutgers are among them.
Bowling Green.
Okay.
And East Carolina.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. But Ross Dellinger reporting this for Yahoo Sports, and he's pretty solid. So.
Oh, yeah. Ross Dellinger's with Yahoo?
He tagged at Yahoo Sports.
Is he no longer at Sports Illustrated?
I wonder if they're not the same thing at this point.
That's a good question.
I mean, sources tell at Yahoo Sports. So, no, he's not. Writing about college football for at Yahoo Sports.
Well, all righty then.
So, things are getting wild. Anyway,
Can't keep up.
If Jim Harbaugh serves a 4-game suspension, it's probably too much of a punishment. But in the world of where the NCAA is, you got to be a little more consistent. That's all I'm saying.
They're consistently inconsistent.
But that being said, I think the NCAA is actually doing it right this time. So maybe eventually, if you live and learn and get it right, maybe we just leave them be.
But to your point, though, I still think 4 games is too much.
It may be too much. I mean, 2 games may be.
Yeah, 1 for each meal.
Yeah, there you go. That may be the real one. That may be where it's really at. And Harbaugh's like, listen, guys, come on. So I don't know. I'd be interested to be a fly on the wall in those conversations.
No doubt.
Let's take a quick break. Those are your top stories. And when we come back, Nolensville Little League baseball coach presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back to the Lee Company studio in a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, coming to you live from the Lee Company studio here in Columbia, and we are glad to have you guys with us as we are talking about all the news in the world of sports, from preteens to pros. We have to
New
change
catch
it
one.
up.
Yeah.
You have to change it up a little bit, but looking forward to this next conversation because this guy was in our neck of the woods for about a week and a half.
Probably felt like longer making that drive. Trust
Yeah,
me, as I make it every day. So
it's rough. It's rough. But we are joined now by Nolensville Little League coach Randy. Is it Randy Huth or Huth?
Huth.
You were right.
like tooth. Told you.
Huth like tooth.
Huth like tooth, but with an H.
That's right. Like Babe Ruth, but Babe Huth.
There you go.
Gotcha. That's the one.
Y'all like cow, but with a Y.
Exactly.
Yeah. Randy, appreciate you taking some time with us, man, and congratulations. Came down here last week to the Little League State Tournament over at Murray County Park and just kind of made short work of everything. Outscored 4 opponents 40-2.
We had a good run.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Opened the tournament against the team that you last saw last year in the state tournament finals, defeated Columbia 5-1 in comeback fashion. Defeated Lexington 12-1, and then back-to-back shutout victories over Morristown 12-0 and 11-0, the latter to complete the that good run. Randy, this will be y'all's 3rd straight trip to the Southeast Regional down in Warner Robins next week. Looking for your 3rd straight trip to Williamsport. How?
Man, we're just pretty fortunate, you know. First, it starts with, you know, do you have the talent to compete at the next level? And fortunately, because of our success, more kids have been wanting to play Little League, and that helps. You know, so we have a bunch of kids to choose from. We have a lot of talent in the league, and when you have that talent, you have a chance to compete. You know, and I think it just says a lot about our community and our growth in Little League, that we've been able to compete at the next level, and hopefully we're able to do it again. If so, we'd be the first U.S. team to ever go 3 years in a row, which would be pretty fantastic. But I'd love to make history.
And the thing about it, when you talk about going 3 years in a row, this is a 12U tournament.
Yeah.
So you're basically going with 3 different groups of kids. I mean, there's not a whole lot of carryover. I do think Nash Carter played last year for you guys and is back this time, but not a whole lot of continuation from 2021 to this year.
That's right. You know, so in 21, we went to the World Series, and in 22, we had 2 kids from that team that came back in 22. And then last year, we had Nash Carter and Grayson May, which they're both back this year. So we have 2 returning players. So that means you got 10 new guys each time.
Not necessarily 10 new guys, but we'll get to that in a minute.
9 new guys and 1 girl.
But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so, you know, every year you get a different group of kids, and you got to figure out what makes them tick and how you can get them to come together as a team. And that's kind of my deal that I've been able to do. And that's what kind of, as a coach, that's kind of what my specialty is I'm not a big yelling, rah-rah guy. I'm more, you know, a listener. And my whole thing is about strategy and getting guys to come together and play at their best at the best moments. And I've been able to do that. And it's tough. It's a new challenge every single year because you get those new kids. But it's also something that, you know, that's my passion, and I just love it.
Now, do you coach a team like in the league?
Yeah, you have to. You got to coach a regular season team. So
you have a regular season team. So you do have at least some degree of familiarity with these kids before they get to you at the all-star level. And
sure,
that's obviously important. And so how does that work for you as, you know, someone who doesn't necessarily, I mean, do you have a kid on the team, or you're just kind of out there helping these kids coach? How does that work for you?
You know, I'm just a volunteer. So my dad was a volunteer for Little League for 45 years before he passed away in 2018. And it's something that was his passion, and he carried it on to me. So the reason that I coach is to continue on his legacy. In my opinion, he was the greatest Little League coach of all time. So my goal is to continue on his legacy. And that's what I do. That's the reason I'm out there, to coach these kids. There's nothing I would rather be doing than helping mold these young people and learn the game of baseball, as well as, life lessons.
Well, and it's interesting because, you talk about, you said it just a minute ago, kids wanting to play Little League. It's not nowadays it's very rare that
Yeah.
kids want to play in their community because they're playing travel ball or they're traveling all over the southeast or the country to play in these tournaments, these weekend tournaments. But you guys have found a way to kind of make Nolensville the premier place to play. You don't want or have to play in those big tournaments in travel ball because it's just as good here.
Yeah, I mean, we're Little League as a whole in the country, across the country, is having an issue with people leaving the rec leagues and going to travel ball. Well, we don't have that problem. We have kids doing the opposite, going from travel ball back to rec leagues that they might have played when they were 6 or 7 years old and haven't played in a few years. Now they're coming back to the rec league. So it's really cool to see. It's a great community. People are really behind it. We embrace those kids coming back. You know, we don't shun them away and be like, well, you left us, you can't come back. Yeah. No. We want you here. We want you here. We're going to embrace you. And if you play travel ball, that's okay. That's all right. We don't mind. We're going to embrace you in our rec league.
Randy Huth, Nolensville 12U Little League coach, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Randy, you talk about those kids that have gone off and played travel ball and are coming back. Is it the lure, excuse me, is it the lure of, you know, possibly playing for a Little League World Series berth that's kind of, even if you all aren't necessarily selling that per se, is that what's drawing kids back to your league with the success that you all have had?
Well, you know, every kid that straps on a uniform from that time they're 4 or 5 years old watches the Little League World Series on TV, and they wish that they could be a part of that. Well, for most kids, that's just a dream that can never happen. They have zero chance of making it there. You know, there's 6,500 Little Leagues out there, and you got to be in the top 10 of them to get there. So, like, for most kids, that's a far-fetched dream. But for kids that live in our boundaries and are 12 years old, it's a real dream. Like, it can really come true because we've done it. We've been to the World Series 4 times in the past 10 years. You know, we've won the state tournament 4 out of the last 5 years. So we've been to the region 4 out of the last 5 years. So that means we played on ESPN 4 years in the last 5, you know, which is, kids see that. They see kids their age or kids a little older playing on ESPN. They're like, wait a minute. It's not just a dream. It can be real playing here. And I can go play for Coach Randy, you know, and maybe have a chance to go to a Little League World Series. So I think that's a lot of it, is people are excited for that opportunity. But it's also that our community has embraced us so much, and it is a, you know, from a public perspective, it's grown and grown and grown. People are excited about Little League. Like, people we don't even know come to our games. People travel to Columbia that we have no relation to those kids. They just see the N on our hat and the Nolensville across our chest, and they want to be a part of it. And you know, that's been a huge part of our growth and success.
You mentioned your boundaries, and I'm not familiar enough with, you know, Little League baseball in this area to know what's where and that kind of thing. What are Nolensville's boundaries? Because I know there's also Goodlettsville. I know there's Columbia. Where do you all draw your players from?
Yeah, so your Little League boundaries, they're given to you by Little League International, and they try to make things as similar as possible so that it's a competitive, equal balance, so that teams this league and this league can be competitively balanced. Our boundaries are all of Nolensville, a portion of Franklin, and a portion of Brentwood. You know, just like Columbia is all of Columbia, part of Hohenwald, part of Lewisburg. You know, and it has a little bit reach there, here and there. Goodlettsville's the same. It goes all the way up to White House, and it includes Goodlettsville and Hendersonville. So, you know, our boundaries. So you have to live or go to school inside the boundaries in order to play at the league.
Okay, so basically Williamson County then for you.
Most of Williamson County. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Who else is in Williamson County other than you all then? If you said most of Williamson County.
We're the only Little League that's in Williamson County. It's called Dead Area, that doesn't have a league, that's not assigned to it. There's space out there and that's what the other part of Franklin, the other part of Brentwood, up into Antioch, there is no Little League that has those boundaries at all. So those kids just can't play Little League.
Okay.
That's unfortunate.
Unfortunate. It is. Now, there are some waivers that kids can get to play, and they can come play in the regular season. However, they're not eligible to play in the postseason. So you can live outside the boundaries, get a waiver to play for the regular season, but you can't play in the postseason.
Gotcha.
Now, does South Nashville no longer exist, Randy?
So we are South Nashville.
You're South Nashville. Okay.
So in 2016, Tusculum Elementary School is where our league was. It was behind Tusculum Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
They decided they were going to expand their school, and we lost our fields. They built school on top of our fields. So we had nowhere to go. So we were trying to find fields. It was a struggle to find a place to play, and Nolensville was inside our boundaries. They embraced us and brought us into what they were already doing. So they were playing Cal Ripken, which is another association.
Mm-hmm.
They changed to Little League and brought our league into it. And part of that agreement was that they would keep the South Nashville name for 3 years, and then it would change to Nolensville. And that's what happened. So we were South Nashville 2017, 18, 19. 2020 was COVID. 21 was the first year we were actually called Nolensville.
Okay. All right. So that explains Chris Mercado coaching third base for you last week.
Correct. So Chris is my best friend. We've known each other since we were kids, and he coaches with me. He was also the head coach of the 2013 and 2014 teams that went to the World Series. And he was with me in 21, and he's back with me. He took last year off, which he regrets. And now he's back with me again. And, I love having Chris with me. He's an amazing Little League coach. His heart's in the right place.
Yeah. I saw a picture on social media last week. I guess you guys have a vehicle that had a Nolo Boys sticker on one of the windows, and now it says Nolo Boys and Stella.
That's right. So that was a really cool thing. So there are some guys that were parents for our last year's team got us that van this year. So we actually have 2 Sprinter vans. They say Nolo Boys and Stella because we don't want to leave her out.
Talk about Stella Weaver.
She's special. Yes, she is a girl, but she's also a baseball player, and people gotta see that. If you've ever seen her play, she's not just a publicity stunt. I've never had a girl on my team before. It's the first time. And she's special. She's 5'8", so she's the biggest kid on the team. She can fly running. She hit the first home run on our team this year. First home run in our very first game. She also can pitch, and she throws nearly 70 miles an hour, which that's kind of like 70 is like the number when you're 12. You want to throw 70. Guys that throw above that are elite, and she throws close to 70 miles an hour as a pitcher. So although, yes, she's a girl, she can play, man. She's good. She's a good player. You're going to see her. She's going to be the starting pitcher in the region of our first game too.
Which will be on, hang on, I've got the record here, on August 3rd.
August 3rd. It's at 3 p.m.
Okay. 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 Eastern, on ESPN Plus against the Alabama State champ. You know who that is?
Yeah, it's Kuza is the Little League. This is their first year in Little League. So they haven't ever played in this tournament before. But we have actually played Alabama the first game of the last 2 years. So this is the third time we will face Alabama in our first game. And crazy enough, in 21, we threw a no-hitter against them. In 22, we threw a no-hitter against them. So now Stella's going to start against them in the third year. So she's got some big shoes to fill.
No pressure there for Stella, right?
That's right. No pressure.
Yeah, okay.
I will tell you, after that game, Stella Weaver is going to be a celebrity across the country. She's going to be on the cover of a Wheatie Box because she's going to show everybody what she can do. And the only comparison out there to what she is and what she does is Monet Davis from the 2014 World Series pitching for Pennsylvania. And she's the closest thing to that. Monet Davis is I've met her many times. She's just a super athlete, and she was crazy good when she was a little leaguer, but Stella is that good. Stella actually hits better than Monet Davis, though.
What grade will Stella be in this fall?
She'll be in 7th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, all of our kids will be seventh graders except for one. Gideon Shepler. He'll be a sixth grader.
Okay. I don't want to get too sidetracked, and I don't want to make one kid bigger than everybody else, but at some point she's going to have a decision to make, isn't she?
Sure.
How far can she go in baseball?
Typically it's harder for girls to move when you leave the transition from 12 to 13. You got to go from the small field to the big field, and usually girls just aren't. They're not, they're still growing. They're not strong enough or big enough to make that transition. So then they start playing softball. Well, Stella's different because she's 5'8". She is really strong. She is a big athlete. So she can make that transition. So it'll be interesting to see. She does play middle school softball, but it would be really interesting to see if she decided to give it a go in the baseball world, because she has all of the attributes that you would want a kid to have. So I don't see any reason why she doesn't do it. It'll just depend on what her preference is.
Randy Huth, Nolensville 12U Little League baseball coach, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. You mentioned you guys are playing Alabama to open the Southeast Regional next week for the third straight year. Kind of sounds like the blind draw in Tennessee high school wrestling, the blind draw. How does that happen?
Man, I have no idea. It's a lottery, and the way they do it, I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Seems like they did one lottery and just kept it going.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily an issue for you guys. It may be for Alabama, though.
I believe it's a bad draw for Alabama, and it's a good draw for us.
Well, and this is interesting because, you mentioned this the first year that Coosa's ever had, because the last 2 years have just been Silicaga's the only team in the entire state.
Yep, and Silicaga's not there this year.
So Silicaga wasn't even in it this year. They were like, you know what?
I think they had enough.
This isn't going to work for us.
Up with this, we will not put.
So they just dipped out.
So Coosa there were two leagues. Birmingham and Coosa ended up winning in the
pretty handily
in the state championship game. They won it big time. And they're a really young team. Coosa is young. They got 5 11-year-olds on their team of their 12. So that's really young. I don't have any 11-year-olds, so I have all 12s. So they're a really young team. They're a new league. I love what they're doing down there. They're doing some good stuff. They're trying to grow Little League in their community. And I really love what they're doing, but I don't think it's a really good draw for them to get us in the first game.
So you say you've got nothing but 12. So how many of these kids that you have will be back for you next year?
None of them.
None. So you'll be all new next year.
I won't have any back next year. And now that the part of that reason is for the first time ever, our league, there is an 11U tournament as well. And we never had enough 11-year-olds in our league to make an 11U team. This year we did. So it's the first time we ever had an 11U team as well. So I didn't poach any of those kids so that they could be as strong as possible. I could have taken some 11-year-olds, but I chose not to.
Okay. In addition to the Tennessee-Alabama game that will be played at 3 on ESPN Plus next Thursday, August 3rd, that tournament opens in Warner Robins with North Carolina and Florida. That's a 9 o'clock start, followed by Virginia and South Carolina at 12 noon. And the nightcap at 6 will be West Virginia and Georgia. Randy, you guys played your championship game last Thursday, the 20th.
Yeah.
You don't play again until next Thursday. Speaking as an Atlanta Braves fan, that's a lot of time off. What have y'all done? What are y'all doing between last Thursday and next Thursday?
So that's always the difficult part of this tournament is that the Little League tournament, it's the hardest youth sports event to get to the pinnacle of in all of youth sports, but it's also the longest. It's 6 months long from the time you start to the time you end. So this is always an issue because you have so many teams from other parts of the world that are getting to the same point. The tournaments are all spread out, so you get these long days in between playing one tournament to the next tournament. And that's always a struggle, is trying to keep 12-year-olds focused on baseball when they have 2 weeks off or 10 days off or whatever it may be. For some leagues, it might be 1 day, but for us, it's 2 weeks, so you just never know. I think all the teams in the Southeast are determined now as of yesterday, I believe. So they will all have similar breaks to us. They'll all have the next 10 days off going into it. So we all have the same exact issue. So trying to keep these kids focused is difficult. But we do things like we go out as a team. We do fun events as a team. During the state tournament, we even rented a cabin. So there was just the players and the coaches in a cabin together by ourselves for that entire state tournament, So we create a really good community with these kids so that they want to be around each other. And that helps feed the focus towards baseball.
It's pretty awesome. Coach Randy Huth here of Nolensville Little League Baseball with us on Main Street Sports Today. Coach, thanks for taking some time. Good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. This is great.
See you guys on national TV once again.
Dude, we love what you do. Thank you so much for supporting us and having me on. We appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get to come back on in a month or two and be talking about some championships.
Yeah, we certainly hope so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, sign me up. If we win, I will be right here.
Sounds good, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's a little Braves chatter. Got to talk about what's coming up this week with Atlanta and their new faces. Just look around.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Better than drinking an ice-cold beverage while taking in a Nashville Sounds baseball game. Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller with Mornings on Main Street. The Nashville Sounds and Main Street Media Television have teamed up to promote Sunday Family Fun Day here at First Horizon Park, each Sunday home game. Just go to your favorite Main Street Media website and click on Sounds Main Street Media Day banner to register to win free tickets. And then we'll see you here at the ballpark.
Y'all, I'm serious right now. They have a dragon here. I saw it. But no, they don't. There's no such thing as dragons. I swear, I saw it. It had huge claws. Get out of here. It had eyes as big as the moon. Come on, I'll show you. Wait up. Do you hear that? We're almost there. Whoa! I told you so. That is a dragon.
'74. Taking over for the fired Eddie Matthews, Clyde King won his Braves managerial debut as rolling off his single in the 10th inning, driving in Darrell Evans with the only run in a 1-0 walk-off victory over visiting San Diego. King and the Braves finished the year 38-25, but he was a midseason casualty a year later, fired in August with the team sitting in 5th place in the NL West. That was this day in Braves history.
You know, Braves history right now is probably the most interesting thing of to talk about, because trade deadlines, when it comes to Alex Anthopoulos, pretty much useless to even try.
What,
I mean,
to figure out what he's doing?
You can't speculate. with the Braves.
Yeah, I mean, it's like somebody said on Twitter earlier today, there's a lot swirling about the Braves trading for Red Sox outfielder Adam Duvall, which means it's not going to happen.
Which means they're definitely not doing that.
Yeah, because nobody ever knows what Alex is going to do. They only know what he's done, pretty much. So it's like the guy doesn't leave a trail.
He doesn't. I mean, it's remarkable how he's been able to keep so many things quiet. So again, it's useless to even speculate. So, but we do have two new faces that I guess may or may not be on the big club
today.
On the way to.
I would think they would. Taylor Hearn and
well, with Hearn having been a AAA arm, I mean, is he on? And I guess he is, but I don't know if he's in Boston right now or not.
I would think.
You would think you wouldn't trade for a AAA arm.
No, I don't think they'd make that trade with the intention of him going to Gwinnett.
So. Right. So, I mean, the assumption is he's there, but I don't know. I would love to know if they are, in fact, in tow. And that guy's pretty excited if they are going from Round Rock to to Fenway.
Yeah,
seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, you mentioned yesterday they designated Lutke for assignment, and I'm not sure what the other moves were, but I think that there is room on the 26 man roster for both those guys. You know, they sent Soroka back down.
Right.
So.
No, for Boston, still undetermined on the starter.
Today?
Yep. They haven't decided yet.
Who is it for Atlanta?
Charlie Morton.
He's been. Oh, and they also got the guy from Tampa.
That's right.
Johnny Chirinos. So all three of them, according to @Justin Toscano of the AJC, are all three of them are in Boston.
Okay. Well, there you go. AJ Minter is rehabbing right now, so that's good to know. So probably bad news for those guys we just traded for, at least one of them.
What, that Minter is
rehabbing? Because he's coming.
Yeah,
don't get too comfortable in Atlanta. One of you guys, whomever it may be. I guess you got to go out there. You got to go. You got to let them pitch, right? See who's the.
Oh yeah.
Who stays?
We may see them both tonight. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Just because you got to see what they look like before you make a decision on them, I would think. So it's Morton tonight, Strider tomorrow night, off Thursday. The third off day since the All-Star break, I do believe.
A lot of off days.
Well, they were off Wednesday and Thursday right after the All-Star game. They played 3 games against the White Sox. They were off that Monday.
Mm-hmm.
They were off yesterday, and they're off Thursday.
Right. These 2-game sets with Boston are so weird.
They did the same thing last year. It's wild.
It's like they just all they want us to do is split that. And then tomorrow's game is on ESPN, by the way.
Oh.
With Strider and Bello.
I wonder who the broadcast crew is for that. Hopefully it's not Rodriguez.
I think he's not still doing that Manning watch type thing?
I don't know. I don't watch enough to know.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm surprised there's not a lineup out yet.
Yeah.
That's unusual. The Braves typically have their lineup posted.
Well, I mean, you're just outside of 3 hours before game time. It's at 6:10 first pitch up there.
Right. So I mean,
so, yeah.
I am seeing that, Chirinos, Johnson, and Hearn outright at Seth Elledge. Like you said. Okay. So that's, and then again, Minter is getting ready with that rehab. So I never liked playing Boston, one, because the Braves really struggle.
And I don't really know why, because right now they're not particularly good.
They weren't very good when we had them in Atlanta, and still, split that series.
53-47.
Matter of fact, they were last in the AL East.
I mean, again, they're tied for last in the AL East right now. They and the Yankees are each 53-47.
6 games over 500.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
That the AL East is pretty wild, especially when you consider the Red Sox and the Yankees are at the bottom, and the Rays and Orioles are battling for the top.
I'm not sure if they're battling or not, because the Orioles are up by 2.5 games.
Well, they are now, but they were battling for quite a while. So, yeah, not a lot going on. Again, if we can't give you the lineup, I'm not sure. But
that is a little bizarre.
I'm so confused right now. But that being said, I did want to ask you this question: Shohei Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets traded to a National League team, does he win the National League MVP?
I mean, I think it depends on what he does once he gets to that team. And you can't vote him National League MVP based on what he's done in the American League. He's not going to stink.
No.
It's just a matter of how much of an impact he makes, I think. Wouldn't it be funny if he won AL MVP and NL Cy Young or something like that?
That'd be interesting. Here's my problem is when you talk about folks who vote for those awards, give them a chance to make history. And
I wonder, has anyone been traded to the other league and won MVP before?
Well, he could theoretically win MVP for both leagues. And I think that's the more odd or unique thing.
No player who was traded and or changed leagues via mid-season trade has ever been named MVP in the same season. This is from WatchStadium.com. The closest thing to such an instance was Cubs right-hander Rick Sutcliffe, who was traded from Cleveland to Chicago in '84, went on to win NL Cy Young Award and finished 4th in MVP voting. So
he did win the Cy Young, but he, based on what I understand, he could theoretically win MVP because he played for more than half the season in the American League, but could also win National League because he is currently a National Leaguer. That would be unfortunate for Ronald Acuna Jr. is what that would be unfortunate for, because at this point, there's no question he's the runaway favorite.
I just don't, and just because I'm biased doesn't make me wrong. I don't think there is enough that Ohtani could do with whatever NL team he got traded to, hypothetically, to overcome what Ronald Acuna has done for a whole season, or will have done for a whole season. And he's on pace for 38 home runs and 70-something steals. I mean, if he goes 40-70.
I mean, if he goes 40-60, and I don't think he's going to steal 70 bases, one, because I don't think they're going to let him. But I mean, if he tries to steal 70, he'll steal 70. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they're going to let him try. So I'm interested. I don't know. I mean, look, we're talking about a guy who's potentially the greatest player to ever live, just because of his versatility. Mm-hmm. But again, give them a chance to make history. Give them a chance to have a storyline like that.
That's a really skeptical way of looking at it. I mean, it doesn't make you wrong. But
I was about to say, just because I'm skeptical doesn't make me wrong.
No, it doesn't. I just think it's
hey, look.
It's borderline conspiracy theorist type
if
thinking
it's coming,
on
if
your
it's coming
part.
from me, it ain't borderline.
Well, that's
because I'm as conspiracy theory as they get, Captain Chaos over here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think that they're looking at what's going on the field and not, trying to create the story.
Well, but here's the thing: you could make the argument. The argument is not unmakeable.
No, it's not an unmakeable argument,
and that's why I would be concerned.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, a lot of those guys are old school guys who don't like the way Ronnie plays the game anyway. So I'm just telling you, this is
some of that they're gonna have to get over.
I'm just playing it out,
mm-hmm.
And I'm just telling you that if you get straight into a National League team, go ahead and prepare yourself to be pissed off.
You know what? I'm just not sure that the Angels are ready to make that trade and make that concession that, we've got the best player in baseball and we're throwing up the white flag on the season.
But I've seen some trade, I guess, scenarios out there that make them a better team. Because if you can get 4 guys who can contribute for one guy who's contributing
twice, though.
Yeah, okay.
but
if you can get 4 for 2, you're in a better position.
Yeah. It had better be 4 guys that can contribute at a high level to sell that to your fan base.
Hey, you're not telling me.
So, interesting.
Let's take a break. Chip Walters is standing by. We will get to him in just a moment, talk a little MTSU and Conference USA, so stick around on Main Street Sports Today. Presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We'll come back to the Lee Company studio in just a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Did you know that up to 80% of us will experience back or neck pain during our lifetime? Many of you are offered surgery or addictive pain pills to relieve your chronic pain. At the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief, we have been leading the way to better health, naturally, and have helped tens of thousands of people right here in Middle Tennessee for the past 30 years.
I came to Dr. Gill about 10 years ago after my local doctors recommended surgery. I knew about Dr. Gill and wanted to see if he could help me. 10 years later, I am pain-free, no surgery, and no pain pills.
Surgery is scary, and over 40% of all back surgeries fail, creating a cycle of surgery and pills. There is a safer solution to your chronic pain. Make the call to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief today and get your life back. This office visit is normally $299, but call today and receive your initial consultation, report of finding for just $49. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call 615-768-8743. That's 615-768-8743.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yalmo Patton here with you on this Top 5 Tuesday. Top 5 best throwback uniforms still to come, coming your way in just a little while. Don't go anywhere. Should be fun. But first, it's time to talk a little bit about Conference USA and the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders. And to do that, we welcome the voice of said Blue Raiders, Chip Walters, joining us now. And Chip, what's up, man?
Just a hot day in Murfreesboro, I can tell you that. And I'm sure it's no cooler over in the Dimple today. But things are starting to crank up. Stock and two Blue Raider players were at Globe Life Park today for Conference USA Media Days, and I would imagine on their way back now. But we've got a lot of football to talk about. But one thing I wanted to bring up, OC Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony and the class of 2023 and other awards that were given out. Steve Smith, who's the chairman of the board of trustees at MTSU, former Blue Raider baseball player. His family's stamp is all over the baseball program with the name of the stadium, the name of the clubhouse, and their name ranks very prominently in the beginnings of the Nashville Sound back in the late 70s. So just a very deserved honor for Steve, and not only what he has done in and around college athletics, but also he is has been one of the top breeders in the Tennessee walking horse industry, and over time has put out his mares have put out great colts that have gone on to do great things, and so in that in itself, was brought up and featured as well. So congratulations to him and his wife Denise and his entire Smith family. The amount of people that were there at the banquet supporting him was incredible. I think there were 15 tables worth of people that were there Saturday night in support of Steve. And also, Middle Women's Basketball was named the Tennessee Women's Amateur Team of the Year after their Conference USA Double Championship regular season and tournament, the NCAA tournament, which was their 19th consecutive postseason trip. So Coach Rick Insel was there to accept that award, and it was a very Brad Willis has really raised the bar on how well that event comes together and how well it's done, and so it was to have as many inductees as they had and award winners for the presentation of that to be completed by 9 p.m. on Saturday night. And get everybody on the road before the Ed Sheeran concert let out was that was a nice little stroke right there.
Chip, you mentioned the Hall of Fame weekend, and there was something that Chris specifically wanted to ask you about in that regard.
No, I just
go right ahead.
I'm just jealous about your picture with the King, and I just want to say that, being in the presence of royalty like that must be tough.
Well, as you can see, it's rubbed off. And so that we got that going. I will tell you, and as we all know, Jerry Lawler had a stroke a few years ago. it has slowed him down some. It has not changed him in the sense of what a gracious gentleman he is. And he was so gracious to anybody that walked up and wanted to talk, wanted to get an autograph or a photograph. He was happy to do it. Obviously, if he did it for me, he was doing it for a lot of people. But I thought it was interesting. The two people that, well, in addition to his wife, there were two other folks involved in, when you think Memphis wrestling growing up, in those Saturday mornings, you always had Lance Russell and Dave Brown call the action. Well, Lance Russell passed away a few years ago. I've gotten to know Dave Brown a little bit over the last few years. Super nice guy. He was there. And also, if you remember, what was the name of the guy who was the referee for every match on the Memphis wrestling? It was a guy by the name of Jerry Calhoun, and he was there as well. But I will say this, in the dinner, there was nobody, whether it was, you just name it, any of the inductees, nobody got a bigger ovation from the entire crowd than Jerry Lawler.
I'm really I'm just wondering if this opens the door for Bunkhouse Buck out of Bucksnort and Ron Fuller and Robert Fuller, the Tennessee stud, and the stud stable out of Memphis and Dyersburg. I mean, this is going to be very interesting to see what happens with Bunkhouse Buck and the stud stable.
The precedent has been set.
The precedent's been set. So I'm going to be nominating Bucksnort's finest, James Jimmy Golden, also known as Bunkhouse Buck. So,
Chip, you go right ahead.
See how far it goes. Took 4 years to get Jerry Lawler, So,
Chip, I was kind of surprised that you're not wearing black today because I saw your Facebook post earlier.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So the tradition, unlike any other,
continues, huh?
Getting turned down for Masters tickets. However, if you look at my Facebook post, one of the comments is from a friend of mine that said he and his wife, they did get tickets this year.
He also said it's nowhere near his first try.
Exactly.
Oh, and first try. Nobody gets it on their first try.
No, but yeah, that happened. It's just part of the ritual that goes on. So we'll be okay. You started to, over the years, you kind of get a little bark on you, so it doesn't bug you quite as bad.
What would you do if you actually got them?
I'd go. Whether it was if it was a practice round where you got 4 tickets, or one of the other 4 days of the tournament where you could get 2. There might be an auction amongst my friends of who wanted to go, and we'd see how that worked out. There would definitely be a plan on how to put that together.
Now, how does that work? Because obviously I've never applied, but I mean, do you request a specific day, or do you just request the tournament and they give you what
you get? What you get. Don't piss your pants.
Yeah, there are 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are practice days, and one of them's the par 3 tournament. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you just go in and you're allowed to ask for 4 tickets for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or 2 tickets for any of the 4 days of the tournament. So everybody just puts in 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And just wait and see what you get. Everybody I know asks for the max for every day, and then you see if you get selected. So it's on masters.org, and nobody needs to go on in there. It's already clogged up enough anyway. So don't make our chances any less by being a new askee for tickets to the Masters.
So the 24 ticket selection is now complete, and all tickets have been awarded. I like the way they just kind of stay away from, no, you didn't get them. But
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, you weren't selected.
Yeah. No, they doesn't even say that.
Right. No.
All tickets have been awarded.
You could have.
That was a screenshot off the website. I got an email, and there was a graphic, like huge, that said thanks, and then right below it in small letters, your entry was not selected this year in very tiny letters. So, but the thanks was huge, like 150 point type, and and the other was in like 8-point type. But it is what it is.
When does it open up?
It opens up right after the Masters, and then it closes. They let you know right after the British Open. So it's a small window, but that's that's how it rolls.
Gives you plenty of time to prepare if you are actually. Well, it gives you time to recover if you are selected, I guess, huh?
That's correct. That's correct. Gives you plenty of time to plan and get on either Verbo or Airbnb or something to try to find a place to stay down there.
There you go. Chip Walters, voice of the Blue Raiders, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chip, you mentioned stock, and a couple of players flew out to Globe Life today and should be on the way back. What players were those?
It was DJ England Chisholm and Teldrick Ross, two pretty good ones. So they had a press conference that was it was available by Zoom. You didn't have to be there in person, and then they do an ESPN Plus TV show with all it includes all the schools. So Ron Thulin used to host that, but I'm not sure if he has done that the last year or so. But they've done all that. They've got it kind of where they get everything done really kind of between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. They start the press conferences, and everybody gets about 15 minutes, and then they start the TV show sometime around 10:30, and so the TV show is actually started before the press conferences are over, but it allows them to get everything in a fairly short amount of time in one day, and so that they do a pretty good job with that. And I talked to Stock. Last year was the first year they moved it over to Globe Life Park, and said that they've got a really nice setup over there for that. So that it is what it is this time of year. I think it's interesting. One of the things to bring up is, there's been a lot of talk about the schools that left Conference USA and the ones that come in. I think right now, if you look at Conference USA and the list of head coaches, something we haven't really talked a whole lot about, and really, kind of the cachet and the names that are within the coaching ranks in Conference USA. FIU, Mike McIntyre, a guy we all know, who's been, Colorado, last stop at Ole Miss, and Coach McIntyre's son. Rich Rodriguez at Jacksonville State. Rich Rod has been across the length and breadth of the country, but has settled in Jacksonville, Alabama. Jamie Chadwell, he is now at Liberty after an unbelievable stretch and run at Coastal Carolina. Sonny Cumbie, Louisiana Tech. It's a name that out of the Southwest that he's done very well. Of course, Coach Stock at Middle, he's been here. This will be his 18th year, and one of the, I think, fourth longest tenured coach in the country. New Mexico State, Jerry Kill, former Minnesota head coach, is now the head coach at New Mexico State, who is an excellent football guy. Sam Houston, I don't know this guy, I'm going to learn him. Casey Keeler is the head coach at Sam Houston, but he won Sam Houston 2 springs ago, won the FCS National Championship. Dana Dimmel has been a veteran in coaching. He has been the head coach at UTEP for quite some time now. And Tyson Helton, out of the Helton football coaching family, is at Western Kentucky. And of course, his brother, the former USC head coach, is now at Georgia Southern over in the Sun Belt. So, it is a league that has named coaches, and they're going to be able to play on a national, the new Conference USA football schedule.
Chip, in 2019, Casey Keeler was named among ESPN's top 150 college football coaches of all time.
Of all time?
Of all time.
Well, we'll have to shake his hand, get to know him a little bit.
This is a guy who, Liberty Mutual National Coach of the Year, AFCA National Coach of the Year, Southland Conference Coach of the Year, Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year, WAC Coach of the Year. So, yeah, I mean.
That just bolsters my point there a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is a top 150 of all time, Chip. I mean, that's I watched Jacksonville State play Sam Houston in the playoffs and did not know this about Casey Keeler.
Well,
How
you
about
know
that?
it now.
How about that?
Yeah.
It does, in fact, bolster your point.
Chip, in addition to this Media Day festivity that was taking place in Texas, MTSU is doing something on campus here in a couple of weeks, I guess.
That's right, and I think you guys are going to be involved, aren't you?
I believe so. I believe that's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be on Wednesday the 9th, if I'm correct. So 2 weeks from tomorrow, August 9th, there's going to be I don't even know if there's a name for it, but it is going to be local media at practice. I'm going to be doing my Wednesday morning radio show from there. A lot of the other sports talk outlets, both terrestrial and online, will be there as well. So it's going to be a colorful look. It's going to have a look kind of like Titans practice, Titans preseason practice and training camp that we have seen over the years, where media outlets have been there. But it's gonna be just an opportunity for Mark does a good job of putting these things together that makes it easy for the mass media, the sports media in the area to come in all at one time. And makes it easy for them to do their jobs, much like we had the Blue Raider Blitz in Nashville, and all the TV stations came out and did their interviews there. This will be an opportunity for them to come out, talk to more players, get practice footage, things like that, and interviews to go around for those who are doing radio and video.
Before we get you out of here, the preseason CUSA football team has been announced, or teams have been announced via PFF. Now, the Conference USA just puts out a watch list.
Correct.
But PFF did put out actual teams, and MTSU has a solid contingent on the defensive side of the ball. And then, not so much on offense. So I'm interested to see if defense wins championships, then MTSU is in a good spot.
Exactly. There's not an offensive player on the first or second teams, and I think they're doing DJ England Chisholm maybe a little disservice there. Frank Pizant is on the third team, but that you've got on defense, you've got Marley Cook, Devin Curtis, and Llewellyn on the second team. So you got a defensive lineman, a linebacker, and a team, or actually on the first team. On the second team, you've got Teldrick Ross and Jacoby Thomas. Super excited to see what Jacoby Thomas looks like in his sophomore year after a great finish to his freshman year. Also, Zeke Rankin on the second team as a kicker. Then you get to the third team on offense. You've got one player, and that's Frank Pizant. You've got, I think, might need up at least one rung. Drew Francis, by the way, linebacker Drew Francis, the son of former Tennessee quarterback Jeff Francis. He's had a very solid career at So that's the way that came out. And, you know, as you would expect, it was, you know, heavy Western Kentucky on offense, especially with Austin Reed coming back, a player who was looking to leave, but got from, I think, all understanding NIL deal, and he is back at Western Kentucky this year. So they were picked to win the league. They got picked with 18 first-place votes, and there was Liberty got 4, and then Middle is picked 3rd. So, interestingly, Middle has to go on the road to both Western and Liberty this year, but a road win against one of those two teams could be a huge deal as far as trying to get into the conference championship game, because there are no divisions this year, just the top 2 teams in conference winning percentage. That's who will go to the conference championship game.
And earlier this morning, Commissioner Judy McLeod said, when talking about future additions, that 10 might not be the most comfortable number. No predictions, no specifics, but we'll continue to grow if it's appropriate and the right fit. I wonder how much of that has to do with whether or not UTEP and New Mexico State find their way out of Conference USA in the event that, you know, the Mountain West loses UNLV and San Diego State. So obviously Kennesaw coming in next year. But
that gets you to 10, and then, you know, and who knows? I mean, heck, San Diego State may end up in Conference USA before it's over with.
San Diego State and UNLV might be CUSA bound. Who knows?
You never know about how that's going to go, because this whole thing with, with San Diego State and the Mountain West and the Pac-12 and everybody's mailing letters to everybody. It's been one of the.
But we didn't sign them and all this, that, and the other.
It's been one of the weirdest pieces of drama in all of the conference shuffling that we've seen over the years.
So you never know. I think it's interesting what we're going to see out of this, but. We're going to talk more about Conference USA and Middle Tennessee State specifically, and as we can get ready for our annual football previews that will take place here, I guess, starting later this week. Based on our schedule, we have to talk about that.
Yeah, we will.
But we've got a lot of schools in this area to get to, and I'm looking forward to being out at that. I guess that's the name of it, Chip. Just call it that. Local media at practice.
Something like that.
That's it. That's the title right there. Just
as long as it's not local media practicing, then I'm good.
Well,
no, we don't need that for a lot of reasons.
Can we do a punt, pass, and kick contest for all media members? Is that what we need to do?
Nope, we're good.
So, all right. Well, Chip, we'll let you get out of here. We appreciate you. Unless you've got anything else you need to add.
That's all I got right now, boys. I appreciate it. Y'all stay cool.
We're going to try.
We will always stay cool here in Columbia. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the NFL news, and there are plenty of headlines to get into. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint, returns after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao and Mo Patton here with you on this Tuesday edition as we get you ready for the top 5 best throwback uniforms of all time. Any sport, any level, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it should be fun. We'll get to that. But right now we're going to do some headline cleanups in rapid fire reaction that we didn't do yesterday as it results to the in regards to the NFL. Lots of headlines to get to, Mo. Let's start with the Brian Flores suit, because we talked about this, and I feel like at one point we talked about even this going to arbitration and the irony that Roger Goodell is the arbiter in the case.
Yeah, that's another one of those, as you like to put it, we have investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing. Yeah.
But Judge Valerie Caproni's written ruling in Manhattan Federal Court came after both sides in the case asked her to reconsider her March decision to force arbitration. She ruled then that claims by 2 coaches who joined the Flores lawsuit after it was filed early last year must proceed to arbitration, where NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell will presumably serve as arbiter. Flores can proceed to trial with his claims against the league and 3 teams, the Broncos, Giants, and Texans. The judge ruled in March that Flores must pursue his claims against the Dolphins also through arbitration. But this is interesting because, to me, it feels like there can't be a good resolution that comes from this, because there's not going to be anything that changes other than potentially dollars.
Well, I mean, if that's the only remedy that you can get, then I guess you pursue that. But I mean, when you say that the only thing that changes is dollars, I don't know what that means. So you don't pursue it because nothing's going to change? I don't know.
Well, my point is there's got to be a way to change the dynamic. And I don't know what that is, but
how? Because I don't know how you change the dynamic from the standpoint that each of these 32 teams is owned by somebody, and you can't tell these people who to own. Who to hire, and so you can't tell them who to hire. You can't make them hire people that they don't want to hire. They hire who they feel like are the best candidates, and it's until the thinking of the people making those decisions changes, nothing's going to change. And I don't know how you change their thinking.
It just seems like there's got to be some sort of way to get owners to be more open-minded. I mean, it's not like we don't have data to back up.
Well, I mean, you look at the success rate of.
I don't even just look at the success rate. I look at how quick the trigger is.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah.
And also it's kind of like basketball. Remember when I told you when those 3 coaches got fired? What was it? Milwaukee, Doc Rivers, and somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So all 3 of them will have a job somewhere,
mm-hmm.
and they all, because it's just repetitive. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And when you look at the success rate, the trigger rate, all of those things, it's obvious. So I don't know. I mean,
and I don't know, maybe if you sign a contract with a coach, you should have to let them coach for the life of it. I don't know. I don't know how you address it. I don't know. But or if you address it. But I mean, again, a guy like the interim guy over at Carolina this past year, Steve, who got fired after 1 year in Arizona?
Yes.
I can't think of his last name.
I know who you're talking about, but almost took the Panthers to the playoffs after they fired Matt Rule, and then doesn't get the job.
Yeah. Steve Wilkes.
Wilkes, that's it. For some reason, I was thinking that wasn't right because it sounds like the guy who was on Jerry Springer.
Steve Wilkos.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, that's not right.
No. Steve Wilkes, no O. Yeah. Well, I mean, he shouldn't have gotten fired at Arizona.
Right.
And he should have been considered more strongly for the Panthers' permanent position. Instead, they hired Frank Reich. So,
who had just been promptly fired by the Colts for sucking.
Yeah. So, and I don't know how you fix it. I don't know if you fix it. But again, if money is the only remedy, then pay that man.
I guess this is a CBS. Yeah, this is a CBSSports.com article here, but all rookie team announced but chosen.
Preseason all rookie team. Okay.
Your first team quarterback is Bryce Young. Surprise. I think CJ Stroud, who is the second team guy, is going to end up being better, but
what do you base a preseason all rookie team?
I think you've got a little bit of camp footage. You obviously how you feel about them coming out of college, et cetera. But they have basically said that Frank Reich will construct a comfortable, passer-friendly offense for Young. The blocking unit is improving, and the receiver group is at least intriguing. With Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Shi Smith, Jonathan Mingo, Terrence Marshall, and Laviska Shenault. Yeah, that's a Titans-like.
Well, I mean,
receiver room DeAndre Hopkins.
Thielen's not bad.
No, Thielen's not bad, and Mingo I think is going to be good. Chark was not terrible but none of those guys strike me as a number one.
No, I mean, I think Thielen is the closest to a number one, but I'm not sure that he is at this point.
running back Bijan Robinson, first team. Jahmyr Gibbs, second with the Lions. And let's see here.
It'll be interesting to see what Bijan Robinson does with the Falcons. I'm interested in how they utilize both him and Cordero Patterson in the backfield.
Well, this is interesting because Dwayne McBride, who is out of UAB, led the nation in rushing last year. Dwayne McBride and Ty Chandler. Yes.
You know who Ty Chandler is,
Chandler.
right? Yes. Former Ole Miss, former NBA, Ty Chandler. Well, not Ole Miss. His dad played at Ole Miss. Where did he finish up? North Carolina?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was at Tennessee.
Yeah, my bad. His dad played at Ole Miss.
But
showing my age.
McBride and Chandler are, along with Alexander Madison, are expected to replace Dalvin Cook.
Which further goes to the attitude about running backs.
Yeah. I mean, Chandler had 20 yards last year. 20.
Has Dalvin Cook signed yet?
Dalvin Cook is no. He's been released, and that's it. I think Dwayne McBride's going to be a good one. Quentin Johnston is your first-team perimeter wide receiver. Marvin Mims and Tyler Scott. I mean, those are guys that are just meh name recognition-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And then
same thing on the other side.
Well, Jordan Addison and Jonathan Mingo, I think, are going to be good. But Rashee Rice, and maybe it's because he's going to be thrown to by Patrick Mahomes that helps him more than anything. But I find that interesting. And then the guy that I was hoping we would get here in Tennessee, Jackson Smith and Jigbo, the slot wide receiver, first teamer. As you scroll through this, it doesn't give me a whole lot of wow factor from rookies. I mean, how many of these guys do we think are going to play real roles this year?
Well, I think Darnell Wright and Paris Johnson are at the two tackles. Those are your first teamers. And I bet Peter Skoronski does.
Yeah, and he's not even among the interior offensive line.
Well, he's honorable mention tackle.
Oh, they have him at tackle?
He's going to play tackle. At least
early.
We don't know that.
I mean, I think he's got to play tackle.
Exactly.
But crap, I'm not with this coaching staff. I don't put any. I don't because they're going to play somebody where they're going to give them the best chance to win, no matter where they drafted them.
Right.
So, maybe. I hope.
I think with Petit Frere's situation, he almost has to play some tackle.
Well, see, that's why I think he plays guard. That's what Petit Frere played. I mean, I guess it depends on what you do with.
No, Petit Frere was right tackle.
Was that not the other guy who tore his ACL? I thought NPF played right guard. Either way, that's going to be the issue is what happens with the Jets lineman and how that plays out, because the guy that they were looking at signing over last week, and I can't think of his name because I was too busy with SEC Media Days to think about it. But
I was too busy with SEC Media Days to notice it, apparently, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
They brought in a veteran guy who had played with the Jets.
The Titans did?
Mm-hmm. And to either think about signing him or not, I don't know.
I think they might have worked him out.
There was a workout involved. Don't know what, if anything, come of it. So anyway, not a lot of rookies I feel like are going to make a whole lot of impact. There's going to be a lot of guys who are going to get
George
a chance.
Fant?
Yes, Fant. That's it.
Worked him out. Don't think they signed him.
I mean, crap, at this point, I don't know what you're – I mean, the Titans could use as many offensive linemen that want to be here.
Just sign everybody.
I think
Give us
sign
offensive
everybody
linemen.
that we possibly can
And
see
let's see
who works.
Yeah, throw them all against the wall, see who sticks. Yep.
I mean, that's kind of the way I feel. So I don't know. But anyway, Saquon Barkley signed a 1-year deal with the Giants, 1 year and apparently $10 million guaranteed, up to $11 million if you include his incentives of 1,350 rushing yards and a playoff berth. What? Like he has – I'm sorry. I don't understand how you can incentivize one player for making the playoff.
Well, I mean, if he allows that to be written into his contract, I guess.
11 touchdowns, 65 receptions are the other two. So if he hits all of those, he'll be up to $11 million. Does not include a no franchise tag clause, meaning the Giants can tag him after the season.
Ooh.
So
doesn't sound like the greatest contract for Saquon.
this is something Barkley and his team were hoping to receive, was the no franchise tag clause. But it's quite a concession by Barkley to report on the first day of training camp for veterans. The Pro Bowl running back was already in the building Tuesday before 8 a.m., a source told ESPN. So apparently he wants to play and isn't going to be holding out.
Good for him.
Well, I mean, in a world where the NFL thinks that all running backs are disposable, what is his alternative?
And you know, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, obviously, with Teresa. Again, I don't know how you reverse that train of thought.
I'm not sure you can.
Sort of like the coaching situation.
Yeah. There's a train of thought out there, and there's no way that you can change it. And that's unfortunate for the most successful and popular professional sport in this country, anyway.
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be running backs.
Nobody's going to play running back anymore.
Why would you?
Yeah, I mean,
go play safety.
Got a better shot. So let's take a 1-minute break here. We'll take a break 1 minute. When we come back, we will talk about the best throwback uniforms in all of sports on Top 5 Tuesday. So stick around here. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joints, back in 1 minute.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, 3-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
Other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama. So other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao and Mo Patton. It is time for Top 5 Tuesday, presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness. And Mid-South 5 Fitness, with Alice Steele and the fine folks out there are keeping you fit and healthy. Make sure to go visit them at Steel Athletes on Instagram, at Steel, STEEL athletes.com as well. Before we get into this, Mo, though, we do have one other headline I wanted to get into that was not in the NFL ranks. Is Kansas and North Carolina have announced they're going to play a 2-game series starting in 2024, a home and home, for 2024-25 and 25-26. That's, with blue bloods and the way that conference alignment is going crazy, this is great to see.
It really is. I mean, there's so many, natural ties between those two men's basketball programs anyway. And the fact that they've only played once on either team's home floor is pretty amazing.
That is insane.
Yeah. I mean, every time they've met, I guess it was in the postseason.
That would make sense.
Or some invitational, I guess. But no, they played once at Allen Fieldhouse, and they've never played at the Dean Dome. So
1960. A North Carolina 78-70 win, and Dean Smith was a third-year assistant. That's how long ago it was. So, man, that's crazy. 63 years ago. But 2024-25, we're going to get did it say where they're going to play the first one?
The first one's at Allen Fieldhouse.
So they will have to wait an extra year
to
get
back to Carolina. Yeah.
Well, we've waited 64 years. Why not one more?
There you go.
Okay. Well, there you have it.
They are tied 6-6 all time.
Wow. That's going to be fun. Hopefully they don't split the next two.
Let's see. First time they played was in 57 in a 3-overtime Carolina national championship victory. And the most recent win was Kansas' 72-69 championship win in 22. So they've met 9 times. I'm sorry, they've met 7 times in the NCAAs. So
there you go. Well, all right. We don't have a Justin, but I do. Let me go look and see if our poll has been.
I don't know that it has.
Let's see. I don't see a poll.
No poll.
Okay. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Justin is saying poll.
No poll.
Wade. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's all good. We'll go now with
I will defer
best
to you.
Throwbacks.
I will give you the first pick.
I
think I had the first pick last week.
You probably did, and you had the best list. There's no question.
That's why the poll didn't go up.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
nobody.
Speaking of conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories, right there. All right, I'm going to go with the Red Falcons with the red helmet.
That's a good call. I'm going to stay in Atlanta, and I'm going to go with the 70s Braves unis, the blue with the white sleeve with the feather on the shoulders. I'm going there, number 1.
That was certainly on my list. My number 2, I'm going to say the Vancouver Grizzly teal throwbacks.
That's solid.
Those were with,
and it's kind of tough to think of them as throwbacks because those were in the early 90s, I guess, which is 30 years ago. So yeah, but it's like that meme where somebody says 30 years ago and you think it's the 70s and it's actually 1993 and now I need to go take a nap.
Yep. Yeah. That's how I feel. So
my number 2, staying in Fulton County Stadium with the baby blues of the Braves.
Okay.
That they wore during the 70s.
The 70s and the 80s, I guess. So early 80s for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was probably closer to the 80s. Late 70s, 80s.
Well, if they're still here, I might as well take them. The Broncos. The royal and orange with the block D.
And the Bronco coming through the D.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
That to me, that's the cleanest look in NFL. I'm just big fan.
My number 3 is gonna piss you off because you made such a big deal of it when they wore them earlier this year. Those 1930 throwback UT basketball unis with the script ball across the chest.
An absolute thing of beauty. I think the LSU one was better though.
You may be right.
So, but yeah, those are great. That was a good one. That was a really good one. Man, I kind of stuck with pro teams here. Number 4, and this is, look, it's the exact same thing that I just said, but the Toronto with the great big raptor on it, with the cartoonish T-Rex.
Right.
I love the 90s, man. The Suns that had the big thing, the Jazz that had the mountains. I mean, all of those 90s uniforms were crazy.
Yeah.
But I love them because that's what I grew up with. So big fan of the cartoonish T-Rex.
My number 4, I love it every time they wear them, is the Chargers throwbacks.
Yeah, well, I mean, are they throwbacks now? They're the normal.
Yeah, it's pretty much their alternate, just about. Yeah. But they originated in a throwback time, I guess.
They did. Well, so
the baby blues.
And that's what they're wearing now, but it's a little different, obviously. But when the Chargers were wearing the navy and yellow and they threw it back to those, it was the best look that they had.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that
it might have been the best look in the league.
Well, and the baby blues, I think if you have a baby blue uniform, you should wear a baby blue uniform.
Exactly.
And that leads me to my final pick, and that's the reason we're having this conversation. It's the Houston Oilers.
I didn't know if they were the standard and off limits or not. But
well,
that's
fine. I'll tell you what.
Fine.
No, you're right. Let's because they are the standard. We shouldn't even. Let's go with the Phillies baby blues with the maroon.
Okay. It's tough for me to.
Let me tell you why
give
I like
the Phillies any.
I like that sleeve stripe. It was so weird, but I loved it. It's like, okay, why do we have a stripe on top that goes all the way down our sleeve?
All the way down.
So weird.
And it also comes down the
everything. It's
it
just
comes
a big
down
stripe.
the rib cage and down the leg.
Stripe and all. If you could put a stripe on it, we got one.
There we go. My number 5, and it really kind of pains me because I hate the team, but I like the uniform. Steve Grogan's New England Patriot unis.
Yeah. Don't look, and then what's his name? Pat Patriot.
Oh yeah.
I mean that logo is just fantastic,
solid.
And it's one of the best logos. And then the red, white, and blue colors that they have, when you put those together, it really it meshes well. I mean, someone said that the NFL had gotten away from vibrant colors and kind of went. Everything is dark. Everything is dark. And the more and more I think about it, the more and more they're right. And I kind of hope that this extra helmet allows some teams to get back into it. Because I know Tampa Bay is going back to the creamsicles. I know, obviously, the Titans are doing Oilers. The Seahawks are going to be doing the silver helmet. The Falcon, I mean, not Falcon, the Eagles are going back to the Kelly green instead of the Hunter dark green. And that's the look that we need to be going for in the NFL.
And the next thing that they need to do is, there's no such thing as a black and white TV anymore. We don't have to have we don't have to have white and dark or white and not. We could do two different colors. So
we could and we should. And you should come back with us tomorrow at 2:00 here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Until then, we'll see you next time.